Hello guys, welcome again to the channel. Today we're going to be working on something that is a little bit out of the timeline because as you know already, the Yamaha is already up and running and the boat is working and everything is great. But I thought that I had lost my files from when I did the rebuild of the carbs, and it happens that actually the files got corrupted when I had them in the camera. But I remember that after I did the recording, I uploaded the files to the cloud, and then I talked to Jack from Builder3, which is the sponsor of this video, big time, and he reminded me that my files were actually backed up to the cloud, that I should be able to actually recover those files. So I want to bring you this video of when I did the rebuild of the carburetor. Obviously I just did one, and it's the same procedure for all three. So this is gonna be a voiceover, just because there is a lot of editing that had to be done to actually get it correct for you guys. So I hope you guys like it. If you don't, please let me know in the comments what would you prefer, because I know my other videos I actually do the editing and I cut the sound, video and everything, and I don't do voiceover, but on this one I actually did a voiceover. So let me know what you think. So this video is gonna start with me at the bench already. The cars are already out of the boat because you already saw the video of me putting it in, so it's the same thing of me taking it out. Take a look. I hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I hope you enjoy. Here we go. Hello guys. Okay, so we're here at the bench, and the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the 3 bolts that hold the bracket for the cables that connect to the gas and the choke. We're gonna remove those 3 bolts, and we're gonna take out that little bracket. The next thing that we're gonna do is remove anything that is holding the hoses. In my case, it's tie wraps, but if you have the original equipment, it's most likely gonna be some metal clamps that are gonna be holding those hoses to the carburetors. I'm removing all mine, my tie wraps. I use tie wraps because I'm planning on doing maintenance to the boat at least once a season. So on the maintenance, what I'm gonna be doing is changing those tie wraps, make sure that everything is there, checking those hoses, because these hoses are not the original, the OEM hoses that come with the carburetor, so I'm gonna have to check them. I'm also gonna be removing, you also have to remove, these little rods that connect the 3 carburetors together, for the throttle and also for the choke. They have like a ball joint there that you just pop off and you take it out. It's a little bit hard, so put some pressure on it. Don't be afraid to break it. Most likely you're not gonna, but just take out those rods. And then what you have to do is from the bottom of the assembly, take out 2 screws, and once you take out those 2 screws, then the carburetor will be loose. The only thing that is gonna be holding it on is the hoses. If you left the hoses attached to the assembly, then those are the only 2 things that are gonna be holding on, like in my case. So what I'm gonna do now is just remove the carb from the hose there. Be very careful and gentle here, because those nipples could break if you actually twist them the wrong way. They could actually break, and that will ruin the carburetor. So the first part that we're gonna take out is the pulse cover. We're gonna take out the 4 screws that cover this, and once you take this off, you're gonna have access to the main assembly, where you have also the fuel filter, which is also gonna be changed, and also those 2 passages that have those 2 little plastic membranes that regulate also the pulse of the in and out of the gas. So this membrane, you have to be very careful how you take it out. There is a very specific way to put it in. The plastic goes second when you're actually putting it into that pulse part of the carburetor. And once you take this part out, there is going to be always a little bit of gas, so make sure you turn it around and get rid of that gas. Now I'm taking out the fuel filter, and I'm gonna show you the difference between this fuel filter and the Mikuni original fuel filter. It's like night and day, even though this one should work fine, but it's night and day. Make sure you take the gasket out, because the new kit comes with everything. So now we're ready to clean a little bit the carburetor and open the new kit. when you open the new kit, be very careful, because all the little plastic parts that are clear, you can really not see them well, so they can actually get stuck to like the blue part of the kit, or they can get stuck to the instruction paper or one of the other parts, and they're very easy to lose. I was actually hunting one down on this carburetor probably for like half an hour, even though I didn't put it on video. But yes, I thought that I had lost one. Thankfully, I didn't. I found it stuck inside the instructions, the little paper with the instructions. So the kit brings everything that you need. This same kit works for, I believe, 2 or 3 different types of Mikuni carburetors. So it has some extra parts that you're not gonna use, like this one. You're not gonna use that on your carburetor because that's for another, I believe it's for an older version of the carb. And this is the new gasket that goes there. It's actually the whole thing, the whole entire kit is like night and day compared to the Chinese kit. So do not get that crap. That Chinese kit is like the worst thing ever, and it never doesn't work. This red dot is the key to the whole thing. This is what it actually creates the pop-up pressure for the carburetor that opens up the passage for the gas, and that is actually what it makes the carburetor work better than anything else. Now we have more gaskets, and then we have the fuel filter. Look at the difference between these two. One is like perfectly even in every side, and the other one is like it looks like it was done by a kid, actually, by a 5-year-old. But it's like night and day. So you need to make sure that you put the original on. I don't think having the Chinese one would make much of a difference, but since I'm putting all my parts from the original, I'm definitely making sure that also the filter, which is I will say the least important part there, is actually the original one. These are the parts that I'm telling you that are very easy to lose. Those clear parts, the 2 little circles come with lines in them, so you can actually find them easily. But the other little plastic clear thing that goes on the other side, you can hardly see it. So be very careful with that one. That one is the one that I was hunting for like half an hour. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start changing the parts. I'm gonna go ahead and actually take out the membrane from this guy. This is like, it feels so cheap. This, just to give you an idea, this feels like a balloon, like the texture of a balloon when you're actually blowing it up and then you take the air out. It feels that way. And the original feels like a very solid kind of rubber that is a lot more steady, and it has a lot more strength to it. So what I'm gonna do now is take out the 2 clear little circles. Those are the old ones, so you can just push them through with an Allen wrench, a little Allen wrench that fits inside the little nipple that it has there. You just push it through, and the difference between this one and that one, you're gonna see. Look at the clarity of the plastic. One is like dirty. I don't know. It's not as clear as the other one. It's super hard. It doesn't bend like the other one. I mean, there's definitely a very clear difference between the Chinese kit and the original Mikuni kit. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the originals into the carburetor. You first put the little plastic circle, and then you try to insert the black rubber garment into it. Just go around it with a small Allen wrench, and then it has a hole in the middle that you can actually push through, and then it will go through the other side. I have to tell you, I pushed in it like super hard, and I was not able to puncture it. So they're very hard to actually damage. So now I took out that gasket, and I put the other original gasket that I needed for that part. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna select. There is 2 different types of rubber that go there. One will not match the holes that you have. They, as you can see, it has to match exactly. There is no hole that, you know, that doesn't match. If you put the other one, it basically will not match exactly as this one does. And then what you do is you put the poles part on top, and then those two parts are actually the same. I think one has to use two and one has to use one, but they're exactly the same. And then, like I said, you put the plastic first, and then you put the gasket second. And then all you do is you put the cover, and then make sure that it's in place correctly, and you put the screws and you tighten that up. And that's basically the conclusion for doing the pole side of the carburetor. Make sure you tighten the nuts. I did it in a cross pattern, so I make sure that there is even pressure on them. Now we're gonna take out the other side of the carburetor. This is the one that actually, in my opinion, has a little bit more that you have to pay a little bit more attention to what you're doing here, just because here is where you have the spring of the pop-up pressure. That is also one of the most important parts of it. This part is the one that I'm telling you that is I think is what makes it or breaks it. And as you can see, this one is, in comparison to the original, is thinner. The little pin in the middle is way smaller. The red pin on the original is, you know, is taller. The rubber is thicker. It's a totally different. It's night and day. It's not, there is no comparison between one and the other one. The rubber on the original feels totally different from the one that is in the Chinese version. So now what we're gonna do is we're disassembling the section for the pop-up pressure. We're gonna go ahead and actually take out the screws. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and remove the screw, so we can actually remove the actual screws with the washer that holds the pop-up pressure. Well, actually this part came out first, but now we're gonna remove the pop-up pressure holder. I don't know how else to call it. So we have to remove the gasket too, and we're gonna put the new one. Also another gasket that, even though is just there, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't look like much. It's totally different. The construction on this one looks so clean, so, you know, laser cut, and the other one looks like it was, you know, cut with a pair of scissors, you know, in the middle of the night. So it's horrible, to be honest with you. The Chinese kits, I don't even know why they sell it, because they're really, really bad. So finally we took out the holder for the pop-up pressure spring, and we're gonna go ahead and now put the new pop-up pressure spring. What I did here is I measure, because the new kit comes with one that is way longer, that is a lot more pressure, and one that it was smaller, that is the one that I needed for, like, I believe it was 50 to 60 psi, which is the one that I use on my carburetor, and it works perfectly fine. So we put that in, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the holder for the spring. There is one included in the kit, and I use the one that came with the kit, even though they look exactly the same. And, you know, that's the only part of the whole kit that I can tell you that it looks exactly the same as the original, but I didn't even want to take a chance. That little piece that we're gonna remove now, that clear part, is the one that I lost for literally half an hour, and I was looking for it all over the place, and I couldn't find it until I actually started looking into the instruction manual. I opened the instruction manual, I very carefully went through it, and all of a sudden it fell off the instruction manual. I was able to find it. So we put it back. We put the screw. This screw doesn't have to, you don't have to put the screw very tight. Just, you know, put it, don't over tighten it, because it's a very soft metal there, and you're gonna strip it if you actually do that. The same with these two screws. They're just, you know, hand tight. Don't overdo them, because this part is gonna go ahead and actually you're gonna have to go in here sooner or later again And if you over tighten, then you're gonna strip the bulbs trying to take them out. So try to be gentle with that. And now this is the main part, in my opinion, of the whole carburetor kit. We put that in, that just drops in, doesn't do anything else than that. And then we put the cover, and we put the 4 screws that secure the cover. Again, I did this in a cross pattern to make sure that I have even pressure on the whole assembly, so I don't have any leaks or anything like that. So make sure you do the same. Don't over tighten this. There is no need for that. Even though you see me using it with a drill, I have the drill on a very soft setting, so as soon as it gets some pressure, it will go ahead and actually skip and won't tighten anymore. So it's not, even though I'm using a drill, it's not putting a lot of pressure on it. Now we're gonna go ahead and actually start the tuning part. On the high, I went half a turn higher than what is recommended. The setting calls for half a turn plus or minus a quarter. I went half a turn plus half a turn, so I'm actually open on the high, and I'm also open on the low. I did the same. I opened half a turn on this one too, so I make sure that, you know, I'm running rich, because I rather be running rich than be running lean on these engines. I'm doing the same thing with the oil intake of the boat. I have it a little bit on the rich side. It smokes a little bit. People look at me funny, but you know what? I know that if I have it that way, I'm gonna have a boat for a long time, at least with the engines. Engine wise, it's gonna be running rich. It's gonna be lubricated, and it's not gonna overheat for something like that. It may have something else may happen, but it's definitely not gonna be because of lack of lubrication or for overheating because of a lean condition. Here now we're doing double checking I believe this is the high that we're gonna go ahead and actually set up. And that's it. You put the little cover. The cover has a flat side that I actually put it facing straight, so when I see it from the top, if I ever need to go ahead and actually see it from the top, it's easier to grab that little flat part and actually move it with a long pair of needle nose. If you need to adjust that, it's easier to do that. Basically that's it. We're gonna put a new gasket when we put it in, and basically that's it. I hope you liked the video. Everything is loose. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.